Okay, we're going to be kickstarting the meeting very briefly. I want us to be at our best. I think network is improved. I saw 4,000 KB per second. Let's just trust God. How many persons are with us now? One. All right. So I think Wisdom is meant to share the link. Can you message Wisdom on my DM? The network is good by the message of God. Can you message Wisdom to share the link out there? We are live. So if you are live, I want you to comment into the future in the comment section. Follow us on YouTube as we're about to start this wonderful journey. Okay. So we'll be waiting patiently for you. I think that there's an advert there. Okay. So we're going to be waiting for you patiently. Okay. Okay, so we'll be starting any moment from now. We just need a few more persons to join us, and then we kickstart. And we are trusting God to have a very favorable network. I'm going to start recording the meeting now. I'm trusting God for a very favorable network reception today. Yeah, it's cool, Abi. So we're trusting God for a very favorable um, network reception today. Okay. So how many persons are with us now? One. Okay. As Wisdom share the link, check my WhatsApp. He has not seen the message. Has he responded? Call him. Two. Okay. Okay, so if you're following us live now, you can do me a favor. Just um, follow or subscribe to Create on YouTube, and then you're going to type into the future on the comment section. Thank you. While we look to begin this session, just do that very quickly. God bless you. Our speaker is ready for us tonight, and we're going to be kickstarting as soon as we have everyone join. Okay, sorry, I just noticed I muted the recording. I'm going to be starting again. How many persons are with us? Okay, we have two persons with us. All right, so let's say short prayer. I will have to do that again. We were on mute all the while. Okay, Father, we thank you for the meeting of today. We thank you for starting up into the future. We thank you for what you are about to do here today. We thank you for we know that you are going to change lives. We thank you for no one that comes here will leave here the same way they came. Father, I ask that you inspire us, you teach us by yourself, you touch our works, you bring your glory upon all we are about to do here today. And we pray at the ending of it, let all the glory, all the honor, all the adoration be unto your name, not unto anyone's name, not unto create's name, but unto your name. In Jesus' mighty name we've prayed. Amen. All right, so we will be kickstarting. How many persons are following us? Okay, we have 3 persons. So for those that are following us, do me a favor, follow us on YouTube and make sure you drop a comment. Comment into the future right now on YouTube. Our speaker is very ready to be with us very soon. Very quickly, I want to use this medium to apologize concerning the break of connection we had yesterday. I mentioned it yesterday that the fault was from the end of our speaker. All right, we encountered an issue from the end of our speaker, and we've worked to see that that doesn't happen again. And I also want to bring to you that we are going to be repeating that meeting. I'm going to communicate the date, the time, and the venue is still going to be on YouTube. Okay. So I mentioned yesterday that into the future is a meeting where we are going to be dishing out in information. We're going to be dishing out secret keyword secret. It's not everything you post on WhatsApp. It's not everything you post on Instagram. It's not everything you post on Twitter. Some things are meant for those that are prepared to receive them. There's some things that are meant for those that are worth them. And I believe each and every one of us connected here today are ready to, key into everything that we're going to be doing here today. So please don't lose your focus and don't waste your data. Okay. So into the future is divided into 3 sessions: tech, economy, social media, and ministry. So the vision of Into the Future is to give you a very clear insight on the things to come, okay? The things to come in tech, in economy, in media, and then what? In ministry. So we are here to give you a robust, you know, insight into the future, a robust insight into what things will become. Because we are expecting a lot of changes in the future, we're expecting a lot of shift in the future, and we cannot help but prepare ourselves for what is coming up. All right. So Into the Future is that program where you have a very deep and a very robust insight into the things to come. Okay. I for one, I will have some things to share, but it's going to be subsequently as we continue. And remember, there will be a session for question and answer. Do well to drop your questions, and our speaker will be ready to answer you. Mind you, our speakers are very good at what they do. They are intellectual, they have the insights, they have the experience to bring you into certain realities. Okay, so don't hold back. Ask as many questions as you want to ask. With that being said, today we're going to be having with us Jeffrey Epete. I know many of us know him already, and this will be the second time we're having him with us in Create. I can say one thing for sure, that he's a man that God has blessed with insight, with wisdom, and with the gift of direction. And I don't want you to miss out of everything he's going to be speaking about tonight. By the grace of God, he'll be speaking to us on the future of tech and economy. He'll be giving us a robust insight into tech and economy. Pick your biro, pick your pen, and get ready to write. And also clean your ears, make sure you are ready to listen. Okay, so he is with us, and with a comment ovation, since we can't clap, I can't hear your clap. Can we acknowledge the presence of our guest speaker here with us today? All right, he's going to be joining us shortly. Our guest speaker here with us today, in a comment ovation, you can just type "We love you." Sorry, are they commenting? Huh? Okay, we have no comment here. So you can just type "We love you," Mr. Jeffrey Pete. And as I said before, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. We need more subscribers. How many are live? Huh? All right. We need more subscribers on YouTube. We need more subscribers on YouTube. All right, so I'm going to be giving the stage to our guest speaker today. I'm going to be leaving it up, and I want you to listen up very carefully and be at your best attentiveness. Okay, so sir, can you hear us?
Hi, David. What's up?
Yeah, good day, sir. Very nice having you with us today. It's a
Good
privilege.
evening. Thank you.
It's a privilege. Yeah, so the
Thank
floor is
you
yours,
so
sir.
much. I'm happy and excited to be here. Hope you can hear me clearly.
Very well, sir. Very well. Please comment if you can hear him clearly. Comment. Okay, sir. Okay, we are seeing you very clearly, sir.
All right. So, hello everyone. My name is Jeffrey, as I've been introduced, and it's always exciting to be in rooms like this. Where you have conversations that there are conversations that they are straight to the point. It's what step are we taking, how to do XYZ, right? They are more like technical conversations. There are other conversations that are not exactly technical, but they bear and hold the essence of how you think and how you live. And this is one of such kind of conversations. You know, uh, I want to say that there's the kind of excitement that comes with David's invitation, right? And the reason that it's like to see David put together events and program, I'm very interested and excited about the kind of mind behind it because not everybody would put together meetings like this. Not everybody would put together events that speak to people like this. So they get to put meetings like this together. I'm like, this guy, you're doing something indeed. So most times where we have to, come across a few things, in conversations and all of that. There's something that I'm more interested in that actually will keep me in the conversation and say, okay, let's do this, let's show up regardless, right? Beyond everything, it is the mind behind it. I know so many persons putting together events. I know a number of persons putting together programs, aid young people and all of that. But to think in this direction, to think in this path, not everybody would think like that. So I'm saying all this to say that David is a unique. So you know, guys are not David Allen. It's a unique being, right? It's a special one. And I want us to celebrate him for first thinking about this and thinking like this to even put a meeting of this sort together. So if you're in the comments, if you're in the room, I just want us to clap and celebrate him. I want us to celebrate him.
Ah.
I want us to really, really do that. I want us to really, really do that. It's not our time to take time or waste time. I want us to celebrate what he's doing. Only a few mind can do it and address it like this. So thank you for everybody that is celebrating it. You'll be celebrated too. That's how it said. You'll be celebrated too. So the conversation that we have on our tape is quite an interesting one. It, it, so it goes beyond like I said when I started, goes beyond when you start talking about, if you're talking about the past, we can say okay, the events that have happened. Let's bring them together. Let's corroborate stories and data and see what happened. Let's begin to analyze it. Let's begin to let's and how it's going to shape our life. That's history. Even in the present, you can also get instant data and instant feedback in our time like this. But then when you begin to shift and move into the future, it becomes a conversation on its own. It becomes a different ballgame entirely. So how do we approach conversations? Where do we begin to see from? David, I hope you're still here.
All right, sir. Okay, sir. I'm here.
You know, I was invited and I was asked to. The topic is into the team. Sure. Yeah.
All right, sir.
We're talking about the future of global and technology. And I'm like, bro, this is the topic that God should be the
Wow, wow, wow.
this is that God should be. How do I know and see the future of economy and technology at a global scale? Right. So I'm saying all of this to a big discussion that we're going to have and listen to what's been said. You might just pick a thing or two from this.
Yes, sir.
I was at a conference really in somewhere in 2024. I was at a conference at Delsu. And we're talking to undergraduate and young graduate.
Hmm.
It's fast. It's changing fast. Sometime back I was this doing TED talk now, and that's where I first came across the graph, the hockey stick. The hockey stick is like this, has a very small base, and it shoots up. That's technology is moving. That's how our world is moving. That's how times are changing. The world as you know it in 2010 is not the same as you know it in 2020. It's not the same as you know it in 2026. It's not going to be the same as you know it at the end of 2026, not even next year, before the year end, struggling to catch up with it. A whole lot of them. A friend of mine jokingly said something on this that they are using AI. He said if you are able to know everything that's happening in the AI community, in the AI space, it's either you are jobless or you are doing that full time. That's to say that the world is moving very
Very fast.
fast, very fast. So how do we begin to look into the future of economy? We're going to start from basics. We're going to start from the very beginning, and I'll throw different thoughts at you, and I want you to the thoughts and put them in different forms. You will see how everything comes together. Are we together? See how everything works. There, there's the common saying that assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. How many of us have heard that before? Or maybe you even used it. Assumption is the lowest form of knowledge.
Yes, sir. Now that.
So I'm not going to debate whether it's a correct statement or otherwise. I'm not going to debate that it's true or whether it's false. Sorry.
Okay.
Give me a moment.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Give me. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we're together. Okay, so I'm going to need us to be at best form. I'm going to need us to concentrate. It's going to be back with us very shortly, and I hope you're already gaining something. All right. I want to put one or two together. And the last thing he mentioned, how many of us heard what he said? He said assumption is the what? How many of us heard what he said? You didn't hear what he said. All right. I'm going to leave him. He's going to ask us in the comments section after now. That's why it's good for us to be listening. So when the speaker is speaking. Okay. So how many of us are following now?
All right.
All right, back.
Okay, I was trying to pull up something very quickly. Thank you, David. So I was sharing with you that the common statement that assumption is the lowest form of knowledge, right? And while that is said, it is said to dismiss assumptions, right? Don't assume, you're not supposed to assume. Now, I'm bringing this because we're talking about the future, right? You cannot exactly analyze the future, right? Because the future has uncertainties that you're not able to figure out just yet. You are not there. You can create scenarios and all of that, but to exactly and accurately analyze the future, that's for the past. You can analyze the past because you can get data, right?
Yes,
You cannot coordinate the future
yeah.
because the future has not presented itself with the exact set of events that you need to. In fact, they are not manifested yet. The only thing you can coordinate is the present tense, right? The only thing you can do when it comes to the future is to strategize for it, is to predict. You can predict the future, right? So when scenarios have been created, what we're doing is to predict it, right? You can strategize for it, and then you can position for it. Can predict the future, right? You can strategize for it. So from your prediction, from your past analysis and your present coordination, put together strategies to approach the future, and then you can position for it. Remember, I said something very quickly, and I'm going to return to all these pockets of thought, right? I was talking about change and how that the world is moving very, very fast. So if this is one pocket of thought, let's come back to the to assumption as a concept. We said assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. We agree. But if it is the lowest form of knowledge, if it's the lowest form of knowing, that means it's also a part of knowing. You get it? Judging from that statement, assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. That means it's still a part of knowing. It is the simplest. In fact, in the scientific process of it that did maybe physics, chemistry, whatever field of science, there's something called the scientific process. Maybe it's not observation. You have hypothesis, and you keep building like that. You test, which is experimentation. Hypothesis is an assumption. So when you have hypothesis, you are assuming, so you observe something. Let's say observe that this camera is black, it's showing black and white, the image of the black and white. You have observed it. You begin to create sets of assumptions to say, okay, I think it's white and black because it's a monochrome because the lens is dirty. Or it's a monochrome because the setting is on that. You begin to create different set of assumptions. Now, after that, so those set of assumptions, they are hypotheses. After that, what will you do? You begin to test them to say, okay, I think because I assume that the lens is dirty, you say that true or false, right?
Yes, sir.
You clean it to see if it's going to change, or maybe get a different lens. Or if it's the setting, what happens? You go and check the setting. What you started doing is to test your hypothesis, is to test assumptions. So for the creative mind and the mind that wants to continue to evolve and have a place tomorrow, you cannot exactly downplay assumptions. You cannot delete assumptions. In fact, the ability to make assumptions will become important. So that is still at a phase. So you make assumptions, right? And then you micro test assumptions. I did not say test assumptions. You micro test assumptions. So you don't test them at a large scale, but every test has to do with resources, right? Whether it's human resource, finance, whatsoever, with materials and all of that. So you micro test assumptions, right? To know the direction of your thoughts, the direction of your findings. So you're making discoveries now. We are sitting together.
Let's all sit together. Comment section.
Okay. Okay, so you make assumptions, you micro test those assumptions, and then you're able to manage the assumptions that you are making. So we know what assumptions work, what assumptions do not work, how to stay on one assumption and move it, continue experimentation. In the lab, when I was still my undergraduate days studying biology, in the lab you can test one thing repeatedly, right, under different conditions to see. So because you see this thing is like this. So you test over a particular condition to see how it's going to behave or how it's going to turn out. You test the same thing again under different conditions to see how it's going to behave or how it's going to turn out. What are you doing? I'm going to manage my test and then manage your assumption. Then fourth, which I'm going to stop with, is to migrate or migrate assumptions. So you made assumptions at first, right? And you've tested them with the assumptions that are more solid compared to others, right? You can begin to discard assumptions that are not accurate, right? You manage them and you started migrating. We'll get to the meat of the matter, right? And we're saying about this as foundation. Okay? We're migrating those assumptions to make better decisions, to have better outcomes. So all of these things I'm saying now is to point to something very simple that those assumptions, maybe not. What if not? This question that you're asking, those things can become important bedroom from, from outcome. Okay, yeah, I don't want to talk about technology and all of that, but all of that is founded. These are the basics of some of such thinking. Okay, so you can maybe after having a conversation, you see me. All right, so my note is here. Hope you don't mind.
No problem, sir. No problem, sir.
Now,
Like,
yeah. All right. Now, we said the world is moving. Everything is changing. God does not change, but God has created a world that is constantly changing, and change is very, very fast. The level of change that's happening now beats the level of change. So let me try to explain it and create a picture for you. So if it takes 1,000 years to hit the first technological invention, I'm going to also make it simple after this. If it took 1,000 years, let's say it took 1,000 years for man to be able to strike two stones together to get fire, to get flame, the next technological advancement is not going to take 1,000 years.
yeah.
Let's say it's going to take 500 years. I'm trying to create a picture and I want you to follow.
True.
Then what will happen after that? The next wave is not going to take 500 years. It's going to take like 100 years. Because one discovery, one innovation, one unraveling shortens the time it takes for the next discovery. One technological product, one technological innovation, one advancement, anything at all, shortens the time that it takes for the next one to come. So if this one takes 100 years now, the next one is going to take like 20 years. The next one is going to take like, so from that 20 years, it's going to take like 5 years. So it shortens it with speed. And as I'm saying that, you begin to plot the graph back. So you see how it's going to go. From 1,000 years, it's just very slow. 500 years, still very slow. Gets to 100, still very slow. Now it's getting very, very fast. From 100, it goes to 20. From 20, it goes to a year. Then you start having it in months, you start having it in days, you start having technology in minutes. Now, what we are experiencing now, we're having technological discoveries and in minutes and in seconds. Every minute, there's one new GitHub repo somewhere. There's one person that say, I've launched this. This one is saying, oh, I've created this. Please check out my this. Every minute that clear. I hope
Very
that's
well, sir.
gotten.
Very well, sir.
All right. Let me also check my time so that. Okay, I have enough time. So I was saying that if I came to this illustration. I was laughing. You tell me why. Because I came to this illustration,
Yes, sir.
and this, you know, there's a word of it. I started by talking about change, and I said that I want to talk about energy, right? I want to talk about resources. I want to talk about value. I want to talk about resource and all of that. And all of these things that we have, if you look at how God has created things, yeah, we have renewable resources and non-renewable resources. But in our world, in our earth, everything is locked. That means that resources, as we know it, the materials and maybe atmospheric resources, minerals, and all of that, in exact, there is no new one is being created. God has created everything. No new energy is being created in our earth. That's the law of thermodynamics, right? Energy cannot be created, not destroyed. But what happens? It moves from one form into another. So in a closed system like our earth, you cannot create a form of energy from somewhere, maybe from Mars or from some part, and it automatically manifest here, and then you are using it. We're in a closed system. I'm trying to explain something. I want you to get it. And what I'm trying to say is that everything that we have is not exactly new. They can be having a new form, a new expression, but it's not exactly new. I think it's exactly I said. There's nothing new under the earth or nothing new under the sun. What is moving from one form to another? And energy is the simplest thing that I used to describe it. Is the then new water being created?
No.
Is there new sand?
No.
Is there new air?
No. No.
So you see, I'm saying that to say, I've already look at chapter 1, guys. In Genesis chapter 1, Bible says in the beginning, God created the heavens, right? That means God put everything that was supposed to be into creation. But then it happened that it without form and void. And that is what the face of the deep and the spirit of the on the face of the water. So it was it was formless or then seemingly it was that it has been defined. They have said, and then God said there be light. Right? God said, let there be light. And there was light. And then God says, let the water separate from water. God created the firmament. God said, created everything. God did not bring anything new from outside the heaven and the earth that He has created already. It first looked like chaos. It first looked empty. It first looked bleak, big, scattered, without form. But God was able to, from it, develop and call for things that need to be. That means those things were there. I hope you can still hear me. Those things were there, but not in the form and expression that they were supposed to be. And God had to reshape things. God had to move things. Now, when things are moved, when things are formed from an obvious source, we call it innovation, right? So maybe there's the form of phone before, maybe there's you have a landline and all of that, or you have a phone that looks like walkie-talkie, and you improve on it, you take it to another level. You see, that's innovation, right? That's like one to infinity thinking. But then when things are moved from a not obvious form, not obvious source, into an obvious source, we call it creation. from a not obvious source. Hope you're getting it. Hope you're getting it. So there is unlimited availability of what we need today and what we need tomorrow. The concept of endlessness. So I've talked about your future. I said you should put them in pockets, right? We're going to bring them all together. The concept of endlessness. How about you always hear when you talk about Satan and when it's going to be thrown into, you say the bottomless pit, like pit that does not end, right? That's not the only pit that there's endlessness. There's endless possibility. In fact, the universe that we are in is endless. Ideas, they are endless. Opportunities are endless. And I'm saying all these things, and I want you to remember what the central theme is. We are looking into the future, right? Or let me, I'm making an attempt to look into the future, right, of global economy and technology. So, I just said ideas are endless. To create, like I explained just now, is endless. The ability to innovate is endless. Because you said any capacity to do work. So it's endless. All of these things are endless. Numbers. I see numbers as one of man's greatest encoding, one of man's greatest language, right? Both within ourselves and with constellations. That's why there's no physics outside numbers. Numbers are endless. What's the last number? What's the last number? You don't know it. You don't know the last number because it's endless. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We are counting. Between 1 and 2 is endless. Do you know that? In fact, between 0 and 1 is endless. So I said something that when things are created, when things are moved from an obvious form into another form, we say innovation, but they have an obvious source. That is 1 to infinity. So 1, you can see it. It's already with you. You're already touching it. You're already experiencing it. When you move it to something else, something better, something faster, something cheaper, something easier, see that's innovation, right? But then when it's from a not obvious source, you call it what? Creation. That not obvious source does not mean that there's nothing there. Because if there was nothing there, you couldn't possibly have created something. So if you're coming from 0 to 1, for example, there are a lot of numbers there, positive integers there. For example, you have 0.1, 0.2, 0. In fact, between 0 and 0.1 is also infinity. So you can have 0.00, 0.01, 0.02. So, and they're getting it. So we are surrounded and in the midst of endlessness, infinity. But we're just. So I'm saying all this to both and our curiosity to see the future, not from a scarcity point, not because some of us are afraid now. Like, is there anything for us in the future? Is there now that there's technological, there's this one, there's that one, there's AI, there's this. I'm saying all this to put that thought in check and to put us in perspective. So very quickly, told me that I'm going in conversation. Let me say it, and Alan, let me know if we are still on the same page. Yeah, so the one of you that I on YouTube, let us know if you're following. Show us your comments. Hey, we're going to talk about the future now. So I just laid the foundation that I think is very, very important. We'll talk
All right,
about the
that's
future. We'll talk about economy, technology and economy, right? And then we'll talk about positioning for this. So we'll talk about the future, we'll talk about technology and economy, and we'll talk about positioning for this, and we're done with it. And these are very important things that we need to talk about and look into, right? So a lot of times when I talk to and speak with young people, one of the questions I ask them is, when is the future? When is the future? We're in 2026. We're having this conversation May 2026. So when is the future? A very interesting conversation. Very, very. Is the future 2027, or is it 2030? Is it 2050? Right? When is the future? Is the future tomorrow? These are questions that we are faced with it. So, and I like you to understand that it is not just a matter of when. In fact, you can fix in the www or how do we say it? It's not just when is the future, it is what is the future, when is the future, right?
so. Please
Then
repeat what you said again, please. So,
why is the future?
okay. Hmm.
Okay. What is the future?
Okay.
When is the future? Where is the future?
Yes, future.
Why is the future? And how is the future? So how is the future? Start talking about the technicalities of things. You don't want to. We're imagining the future and say, okay, how is the future going to be like? How does it? What are the kind of operations in the future? That is just one. That is just one side of thought in the multi-sided thought pattern. So what is the future? If you look at it, it's very simple. And all of these ties, they're all tied together, right? So I think when American dictionary define the future as a, so you can even say the future is after or later or existing or occurring at a time other than now. Okay? Or time from now. So you see that there's time in it.
Yeah.
Time from now.
Fine.
That means the next moment is future. Tomorrow is future. By tomorrow now, this is by the Thursday is future.
Yeah.
Next year is future. Next week is future. Next decade, next millennial, the next, you know. So the question that we want to start asking ourselves beyond that, there's the why is the future, when is the future, and what is the future, right? Then that also answers where the future is. It means that anytime that is not in the now is what we categorize it as future. Of course, not in the past now. After now, I go as future. That means the next moment is future. Now, why do we have the future? That brings us to the question of purpose, destination. Okay, that brings us to the question of purpose, destination, and hope. If there's no tomorrow, before I answer this question, I want to ask you a question. If there's no tomorrow, like you are sure that when you go to bed tonight, nobody in the entire world is going to wake up. Nobody. You're not going to wake up. I'm not going to wake up. David, Alex is not going to wake up. Nobody's going to wake up, right? You are sure. The world has ended. The world ceased to exist. What do you do now? What will you do now? Just think about it for a moment. We are all sure that nothing is going to. Maybe somebody somewhere pressed the button and that button is not going cannot be reversed by any technology.
body or anybody, and your body is now where somebody has pressed that button, so nobody's going to wake up. What will you do? For some of us, the food that is still in our kitchen, like, there's no tomorrow again. Let me just go and eat everything, and you know, I know that yes, I ate my food. Before that, you were saving for the week. There's no need saving for the week. Maybe you're going to take a course online in the next 1 hour. You're not going to take it because what I'm paying for, or there's somebody that is owing you money. Will you call that person and say, please pay my money, or I need that money for my rent next week? Is there any need?
No need.
Or you just call that's when you know people that you really love. Maybe your family members, like, hello, I just said that she did your voice for the last time. So that maybe in case you go to heaven or you go to hell, in case we will not see again after now.
Yeah.
So you just want to, in local balance, you just want to day, you just want day. Like, there's no need for anything again. But because you understand that if you go to bed tonight, you're going to wake up tomorrow. In fact, you have that faith, that serious. There's no guarantee anywhere. Nobody signs a paper that you must wake up.
True.
But you have that faith that's why you can cook and say, let me eat this portion and keep this portion. But let me spend some money and leave some money.
True.
So when you wear a shirt, you don't trade it, you keep it, but you wash it, iron it, because you wear it again. Who gave you that confidence? It's because you set yourself in several orders. So
you said again.
From that I'm going to show up in tomorrow. I don't want to show up in tomorrow once and do. So you can plan for tomorrow. You can work today. So the future of tomorrow is the hope that we have today.
Mm.
If there's no concept of the future, there will be no reason for today.
Just the hope that we have.
Let it just end already. Let it just end already. You get?
True.
So the strength for today and the hope for tomorrow is not something we should joke with. We're going somewhere, all right? And now, oh, look at Habakkuk. Habakkuk says, Habakkuk 2, I talk about vision and all of that. Say, I will stand upon my watch. I want to see what God is going to say to me, right? So that we can act on it. We have to make it plain on paper so that people will run with it. Don't tie it. All of us stick it. So you can use that to define and explain visioning. Now, the future is the picture you have of tomorrow, right? So, when is your future? I can't add if I have the future to it. The likelihood of making progress is also can also box that as a definition of future. That's why maybe when you're going to look for a job, after you see the job, you're like, I don't think I have a future here. That means you don't think you're going to make progress there, true? Right? Or you're making something, you're creating something, and it's not like going to work. I don't think there's a future. In a future where you are the president of Nigeria, if you do not take actions today to get to that, that is not the future you believe. That is the future you see, but the future you believe is defined and determined by the actions you take today. You cannot say in your future you are traveling around the world and all of that, and you're not making conscious action to be a global citizen. Just as a big example.
Okay.
And future, or how much of your future is the picture, this, all of that. If there's no work attached to it, if there's no conscious
Okay, we're having poor net. Okay, we're having poor net.
move close